really have Tom ever been a mistake to witness for coolness?
Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Natalie Megan and this is Weirdo Book Club. Today I'm doing something that I already did once, hated it, deleted it, and am now revisiting. We're going to be doing a tier ranking video of the weird, sentient object, dark data, just all the weird stuff. If there's a zaddy in the book, I'm gonna rank them today. Thought it would be kind of fun, and why not? It's my channel, I can do what I want. Hi, so before we get too far gone, I wanted to pop some disclaimers in here before the disclaimer of like, this is my opinion and whatever. So number one, I am going to be doing this for Vlogmas, or I'm going to attempt Vlogmas, which is basically me posting a video every day leading up to Christmas. We will see how that goes, but I hope you enjoy this. And for as long as I'm able to keep up with it, I hope that you get something out of it and stick around and see what else I have up my sleeve. The second one is I wanted to tell you that while I'm discussing these books and these men within these books, there will be spoilers to most of them. Some of them I just kind of glaze over like, oh, Dracula, whatever, sure. Everybody knows that story anyway, pretty much. But other ones I have to explain why they're in the tiers that I've chosen to put them in. So I just wanted to let you know that if you haven't read any of these books, and as you start the video, you'll see a bunch of thumbnails at the bottom. If you don't want them spoiled, maybe bookmark this and come back later. Okay, let's keep going with the video that I already recorded. Happy holidays! All right, now let's get to it, shall we? I have all of the titles and all of the covers of the books that I want to deal with or talk about today uploaded already, and I haven't shuffled them, but I'm just gonna go in whatever order I want to go in because I do what I want. Now, for disclaimers, I have read all of these books on here and have formed my own opinion. So you will be hearing that today. My opinion of the main love interest characters that are in these books. If you don't want to hear my opinion or you don't know how to behave when someone has an opinion that might be different from yours on the internet, you don't have to watch this. We're here to have a good time. So that's what we're going to do. Okay? As long as everybody behaves, we shouldn't have any problems. Okay? So first, I want to start by showing you what I've named my different tiers. There are 5 categories. We're going to start at the top. Okay? And the top is, you know what? Hell yeah. Because, all of these characters that we're going to meet today have something to them that's a little out there, a little odd, a little dark, a little sexy, And so it's not always like an immediate yes. It's not like a take me to your home now kind of thing. Not always. But you know what? Sometimes it's a hell yeah. Hell yeah. And so that's my top tier. That's the best I can do. The next one below it is a willing to hear them out tier. Okay. So these are the ones that'll pop up and they have some potential. They're not just blatant criminals who victimize women. And so I'm willing to let them pitch to me. I'll have a coffee with them, The middle tier is just called no thank, because while I recognize that they may have some problems, they aren't for me, but I wouldn't discourage anybody else from, having a little go with them if you want. You're a grown up, you can do what you want. So it's a no for me, but thanks. Under that, we have stop it, get some help. These are the not completely baseless human beings with no moral compass to speak of, just committing crimes left and right. They need some help, and I do think they can be rehabilitated if the right person chooses to believe in them. I'm not going to be that person, but they should seek help, and maybe they'll find someone along the way. And the bottom tier is immediately no. I was going to call it like jail or hell or whatever, but these are the irredeemable characters to me that have no merit whatsoever. Would not hear them out, wouldn't offer them to a friend just for a fun little night. They're beyond help also. Like, I don't see them being rehabilitated and reinstituted into society as a functioning member of said society. I think that they are just out. Go. Stay away from me. It's a no. So now that we know what my tiers are, let's get started on ranking all of the zaddies that we're about to meet. Where should I start? I'm just gonna Oh, okay. So the first one we have here is Sing Me to Sleep by R.M. Virtues. This is a sleep paralysis demon romance novella where a woman who is navigating grief, she's had a loss in her life, she starts mixing it up with her sleep paralysis demon. And I don't remember what his name is because I read this like a few years ago with Weirdo Book Club, and it was a good time. It was a silly, goofy little time. Had some good demonology in there. I was kind of intrigued by it. So, are we starting with a yes already? You know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I already have a sleep paralysis demon. Anyway, it would be really nice if he was hot. Mine's not. He just kind of stands there menacingly. But yeah, I mean, he's a demon. He talks you through it. He's respectful. He understands consent, and he's got an appendage. He's got a couple of them. So yeah, sign me up. Okay, next. Who's that? Oh no. Okay, so There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. This is a book that I read like 4 years ago now, and with the recent problematic shit that popped up in her books, I don't really read Sophie Lark anymore, but just for the sake of everything, we'll talk about it today. So There Are No Saints is a serial unaliver romance stalking kind of thing between the main girl and a man named Cole who takes people out. He's also an artist. Oh my God, he's got a hobby and he's rich and whatever. And I remember thinking like, oh, okay, because this was my first little dip into the dark romance pool, because when I heard dark romance first, I was like, ooh, I like horror. I like romance. Maybe a romance with a little edge will be fun. I was very naive. I didn't know. I just didn't know. And now I do. But back when I first read it, it was very intriguing. And I liked that he didn't necessarily victimize her or make her into a bad person. He did kind of victimize her. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. It's been a while since I read it. I don't think he's for me. He does take people. He unalives people. Okay. And he should probably get some help. Do I think he's beyond help? You know what? Factoring in the way they acted with each other in the second book, because it's a duology, I was going to put him in No Thanks, and maybe you can take him if you want, but I'm putting him in Stop It, Get Some Help, because do that. And then also, like, the way the first book was fine, and then the second book just kind of goes into this weird area of kink that we were kind of getting in the first one. But for instance, at one point, the main girl, is mixing it up with our guy, and she says something like, "Eat me, daddy, send me into outer space." And he allowed that, and they were involved. It was consensual and good for them, but I want nothing to do with that. That is horrific. So he's in Stop It, Get Some Help, because he needs some. And we all do, really. All right, what am I going to do next? You know what? I'm going to pull a wild card up here. I'm going to go Twilight. I'm going to go Eddie boy, because my kids have been wanting to watch Twilight lately, so it's been on my mind anyway. And this is a darkish, little tinged romance. It's shrouded in mystery. It's shadowed, because if you think about it, yes, it's, Twilight. But at the same time, this is a century-old vampire who pretends to be a high school student. And then instead of just violently taking out this girl that smells so good to him, he just turns her into a vampire and they live together happily ever after. Yeah, it's a little dark, a little weird. So Edward Cullen, as someone who really ironically enjoys this series, knowing full well that it's stupid, it's bad, it's Mormon subterfuge, and it's like completely harmful to the indigenous community that she just decided to villainize in here for fun, I like Robert Pattinson. Would I pick him in the book? Where would the book Edward go? This is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. Where would book Edward go? Having read Midnight Sun, he would also be in Stop It, Get Some Help, because I think maybe he could be redeemed, right? Like, he's not some of the worst of the worst. So book Edward Cullen is a Stop It, Get Some Help. Robert Pattinson's portrayal of him in the movie is I'm willing to hear him out. Like, if I were his Bella and he wanted to talk to me, he wanted to take me out for mushroom risotto and run this by me, I would hear him out, okay? But just know the book version of him is in the Stop It, Get Some Help right next to Cole. All right, next I'm doing the main guy from Promises and Pomegranates by, is it Sav R. Miller? I can't really tell. This was another book club read that we did together, and I didn't like this. It's Hades and Persephone, but I say that in air quotes. There was nothing to that whole comparison. I don't know why it's thrown around. Literally, all that happened is that she has a pomegranate tattoo. That's all. And sometimes, I don't know. It's mafia. He's known her since she was a child. I'm not real big on mafia anyway, and this was just dumb. It was dumb. So I'm going to just go with No Thanks. You can have him if you want him. I definitely don't. Oh my goodness. Let's do a fun one next. Let's do Lincoln Daniels from The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. I'm sure you remember this one. This was a real fun review. So Lincoln Daniels is a millionaire and a hockey player extraordinaire and ladies man. Oh my God, he's so dreamy. And he also, stalks the girl and breaks into her house and leaves some arrival chapstick on her face as he stands above her, just viciously jerking it. And, that's one of the lower things that he did, because later on in the book, if you haven't watched my review and or read this horrible tragedy, you know that he kidnaps her, implants like cameras to watch her, has a tracking device, I believe, planted inside of her in the place of an IUD, drugs her, all of this stuff. And wow, that is crazy. And speaking of crazy, it's immediately no. And here's why it's not stop it, get some help. I don't think he is capable of being rehabilitated. The way that he behaves would only get worse. He would only get worse if you tried. And honestly, he has enough money to get himself out of any situation that he wanted to. So he needs to just go straight to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You don't need it anyway. It's a no from me. Burn in hell, devil spawn. Let's do a silly, goofy one. Let's throw a weird one in there. All right, so next we have Driss, aka The Door from Unhinged by Vera Valentine. Now, what do we know about Door? We know that he has guarded and protected our girl for years. We know that he is part god. He is a dryad. What is it? Not a druid. He's a dryad. He's part god because Zeus just really needed to do a tree that he wandered upon in the forest once. And then that tree had a baby tree, and that tree grew up and was turned into a door. He comes to her in her dreams. He seems to really like praise. He's just a solid guy. Get it? Because he's wood. Knock on wood. Tee-hee. What are we thinking? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. You know what? Hell yeah. Because, he turns into a human after all, and he's part God. And he seems really devoted and loyal and kind and sweet and just generally good. He's a good guy. So you know what? Hell yeah. Sign me up. Don't you doors get any ideas, okay? This is specific to Driss, so chill. All right. I read Heart of the Mountain, Protector of the Mountain, Soul of the Mountain, and just a man, of the Mountain by Frankie Love and C.M.C. Rook. Sorry. I read all 4 of those, and honestly, the main character, the men in those books are basically interchangeable to me because they were so short and there's like literally nothing to them to set them apart. They're all burly, bearded, baby daddy virgin men that live in the woods in isolation, but somehow come across these women with these ready-made families. Like one of them, her sister just had and died during childbirth. Another one, she's a nanny, and the kids and her escaped a car crash where the parents died. There's a ready-made family baked into these plots. I have a theory that it's Jesus fanfic, like the virgin births and whatever, because they still get to have their little virgin sex with all these women, but they get to have kids that they rescue from whatever circumstances surround them. So I only put one cover in here to just kind of stand for all of them because they aren't unique enough to deserve their own ranking. So I don't even remember their names. I know the first one was James. I have reviews up for all 4 of them on my channel if you want to go and watch. So, in the grand scheme of things, they're not terrible. They're not well written, but is that their fault? No. They are kind of boring. They probably have some patriarchal misogyny trad wife ideal in their mind of who they want their little partner to be. And I know myself well enough to know that I would not do well in that. Maybe for a minute, like, oh yeah, I'll bake bread. I'll make a sourdough loaf. And then tragedy will strike and I will need to run away. So I know that they shouldn't bet all their money on me. So I'm going to go with just a simple no thanks. If you guys want to pick up gems on your way back up the mountain, you feel free, but I just don't see us meshing very well. I don't see it going well, you know? All right, let's move on to Death's Obsession by Avina St. Graves. This is another dark, like, demon. It's not a demon. It's the Grim Reaper. It's the Grim Reaper. And this woman is also, like, really going through a lot. She's very morose. She's very sad and grief-stricken. And the Grim Reaper shows up. He shows up, and honestly, I felt like this was a little laggy, like it drug on for a little too long, but I'm willing to hear him out, okay? Because he's the Grim Reaper, for crying out loud, and I've played The Sims. And I've tried to woo with the Grim Reaper. Who hasn't? Okay? So it's not like an immediate yes because I don't know all the ins and outs. I would need to hear him out first because what he's offering is eternal life with him as like his number 2 Grim Reaper assistant. I don't know, assistant to the Grim Reaper. And I don't know if I would want to be in that forever, but if I am taken by the Grim Reaper and work alongside him, does it mean that I too have an eternal life? Like I'm immortal now, I can't be killed, I can't suffer, like I'm done. Because, you know, but like, would I be able to get out of this if I wanted to? You know, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of questions that I need answering. So it's not an immediate yes, but it's not a no. So I'm willing to hear you out if you can hear me. Leave me alone. I am not done. I need to do stuff. All right, next we're going to go down the line of all of the 4 in the Never King series, the Vicious Lost Boys series by Nikki St. Crow. This is another one that I have reviews up for every single book on my channel if you're interested. And this is Peter Pan Lost Boys, dark whatever. They kidnap one of the Darling children and bring her back to Neverland, and they all enter into a sexual relationship with her. None of the boys kiss, which I find to be very irritating, but what are you gonna do? So let's start with the Never King. The Never King, we're just gonna, he's Peter Pan, okay? And in this series, he is very annoying, and he's been like sleeping with, like, if I'm Wendy, or I'm one of the Winnie whore, my apologies. If I'm Winnie whore and he's been sleeping with my mom and my grandma, I don't really want any of these people. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the answers ahead of time, but some of them might be a little higher on the scale just because. So I didn't really like him. However, would I be able to live with that if it meant I get to live forever and stay young on Neverland? It's a question worth pondering. I think I'm going to pass on Peter. He's a no thanks for me. So that means he's up for grabs for one of y'all. Next, we have the dark one, whose name is Vane. And I think if I were willing to give anybody a shot of these 4, it would probably be Vane, but I can't hear him out because he barely ever talks. So I feel like it would either have to be like an immediate yes or a no thanks. And I think he's a no thanks just because he's kind of broody and annoying. And I don't do well with that. I need you to open your mouth and I need you to speak to me. Okay. So speaking of that, Vicious, Darling, and the Fae Princess. So one of them is going to be Cass and one of them is going to be Bash. I don't really see that there's a point to this. Actually, let's make Vicious Darling be Winnie Whore. She's also a no thanks. She can just have Peter in Vane and leave me alone because I am willing to hear out. This is what I'm building to. I'm willing to hear out the Fae Princes. They're Fae. There's 2 of them. They did her with a tree in one of the books, which was kind of weird. And like they did it while they were flying, I feel like, or maybe that was Vane. I don't remember which one. There was a lot of ins and outs. You get to live forever on Neverland. They are princes of the Fae whatever, so they are royal. That means they have money. And one of them has long hair. I know that. I don't know which one, but one of them has long hair. And one of them, maybe the same one, I don't know, cooks a lot. And as we know, I can't be doing that. So I'm willing to hear out the Fae Princes. I don't know what you want from me. All right, next, since we're on series, let's do one of the first darker romance series that I finished because my friend Hannah sent it to me and said, hey, I think you'll hate this. And she was right. We're going to do the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart. So again, I read these like almost 4 years ago now, but I do remember that there was Sean and Dom, of course, and the Frenchman who I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. So there's 3 men, so there's 3 covers of the books. Perfect. So the first one, Flock, I'm going to let that one be Sean. I think his name is Sean. I don't know. Anyway, the one that I think's name is Sean. He calls her pup the whole time. And before we get into this, actually, let me just tell you a little bit about the series. It's like if Twilight and the Fast and Furious franchise had an ugly baby. Yeah. So we have this group of people who love their cars and love each other because they're family. And she is Bella, who goes to live with her father and work in his factory so that she can do that. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But anyway, she meets Sean and Dom first. They bring her back to the house. They're like, you can't just be bringing anybody over here, kind of shit. But then they end up in a little throuple there, which is just okay. And again, the boys don't kiss. What are we doing? So let's start with Sean. Sean is definitely more of the puppy dog of the 3 men that you see. He's very like youthful and spry, and he's playful with her. He calls her pup. And he's just like a boy next door kind of guy. And I don't want it. No, thank you. The other one that we meet in the first 2 books, his name is Dom. And he is another like sullen, sulky, broody type, but a big old teddy bear on the inside with his whole, we love rainy days, don't we, baby girl? Not with you around, I don't. He is also a no thanks. Yeah. And then finally we have the Frenchman, or whoever the hell that guy is, and he's a stop it, get some help. The first 2 are idiots, sure. And they're in this little street car, whatever thing, and they tag team this girl on a pool float in her pool, which the mechanics of that astound me still to this day. It makes no damn sense. But the Frenchman is a few years older than everybody. He has known her and kind of watched her ever since she was a little girl. He kidnaps her at one point, I believe, and then she wakes up the next day and he has branded her. Like there's a whole bird tattooed on his back, the Raven Hood, you get it. It's just he needs help. And I do think it's possible for him to get help and for it to go well. Otherwise, he'd be in hell with the immediately no. But I don't want none of them close to me. You stay away from me, please. Thank you. Okay, so let's go classic dark romance next. We're going to go with Pen Pal by J.T. Geisinger. I have not reviewed this. I probably should because I hated it deeply. And it's being picked up by Bramble, I believe. Let me double check and make sure that's true. I gave it 1 star. I don't even care. Anyway, this is, it's said to be a story about a woman who buries her husband, and when she returns back to her home, there are a bunch of letters from a man named Dante who is in prison, and she doesn't know him, but he knows her. And then he gets out of prison, and I was like, sure, why not? And then I read it, and that's absolutely the fuck not what happens. There is no, it's spoilers. It's a ghost story. It's very Sixth Sense, with the twist. Schizophrenia is also demonized in here somewhere. It's super fun. And they call each other like Lion and Bunny. There's like a kink thing. And it's not the worst thing that I've ever seen. It's not the worst depiction of a dom-sub relationship. It was just not for me. It was irky and gross. And, he's dead. So I'm going to say no thanks, buddy. But, whatever. I hated this book. I gave it 1 star. So I don't know what you want from me. Now, the next book is Trick or Beast. This is one that I read recently and I did a review on. It's up on the channel if you want to go and watch it. This was like a little Halloween-y novella where the premise is a woman enters into a contest in which she has to spend 3 nights in a forest that is populated by every monster you could think of. And if she makes it to the end of Halloween day, like that's the end of the contest or whatever, she will win a wish and money and something else. I don't know. It was weird. But what ends up happening is that she gets in there and she starts a relationship with 2 werewolf shapeshifters and also Stingy Jack, aka every Jack that has ever lived ever. And we already kind of had this conversation at the end of my review where I was like, would you take this deal? Is this something that you would want? Because the prize that is offered to her at the end is that she stay in the forest with them. And every year on Halloween, Jack will come back and she will get to just rock his world and get her back cracked for like 24 hours. And in the meantime, she gets her own house and there's magic and the wolves are there also. And so we had this conversation at the end of it, and I was like, it's like a nah, I don't really. If it was like one of the other hear me outs, you know what, hell yes, in the forest, then maybe. But the werewolves, let's start with the werewolves. I found through this that I do not find anything sexy about sleeping with something of canine descent. I know that they're shapeshifters and that that she never mates with them when they're in wolf form. Sure, shoo, right? But there is a part in the book where they're in their wolf form and they're all so horny, but they're not doing it. And so one of them goes for a run to kind of blow off some steam, and the other one just lays with his crotch in her lap. And it's a little too close to bestiality for me. I guess I'm not a werewolf girly. So, no, for me with them. And then the every Jack ever kind of thing is also a no, but hear me out, okay? It's like a no for me, but it could be fun for like a year or two because he's every Jack ever. His junk smells like pumpkin, love it. And you never get bored with him because he goes away and you have magic and you don't have responsibilities or bills. So I think if the werewolves weren't involved, it would be I'll hear you out. But 2 wolves and 1 Jack, I mean, every Jack kind of outnumbers them, but like the wolves, it's also a no thanks. We are filling this category up. Oh my God. Okay. Next, we have Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. Not the last H.D. Carlton we will see on this list for sure, but it is potentially one of the most boring ones. I don't even remember what this man's name was. He's a criminal. He disposes of bodies, whatever. I really couldn't tell you. This was like one of the most boring ones, which should be a crime, but it isn't. And so I think that he's just a stop it, get some help. I don't like him. Don't really remember him. I don't think there was much to him. Who gives a shit? Pounded by Produce. Well, aren't we having just a nice little giggle today? So this is another one that I recently read and I'm going to be reviewing soon on the channel. So look out for that. This is a veggie love story where a young woman gets a job as the chef on at a church where 2 really hot priests work, but they also kind of like each other and they also kind of like her. And then one day they turn into vegetables, which she has a fun little time with. And it's like a little love story about being who you are and doing it on purpose and not being ashamed of who you are and leaning in to love and all this other stuff. And I'm not big on vegetables, okay? But I am big on hot priests who kiss each other, okay? So I'll hear them out. Not great with the religion, but it seems like, that's deconstructed along the way. I mean, when you wake up and you're a cucumber, I feel like your faith will be shaken at that. And that makes sense. So I'm willing to hear them out. Plus, if it goes bad, I've got the makings of a nice little salad. Okay, next, potentially the original Dark Daddy. Let's do Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I'm reading this now, I'm about halfway through. Epistolary novel. It's about Count Dracula. We all know the stories of Count Dracula. Listen, he's well dressed. He enters with consent. He can transform into a bat. That's got to come in handy. I don't know what it would come in handy for, but it's got to, right? He owns property and he has wives. He's fancy. It's a hell yeah. I might regret it, but in that case, I can just, reenact the plot of A Dowry of Blood. I see no downside here. And there's so many different Draculas. Like you could just toss them all in there though, because the new one, the Dracula love story, it's a you know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Even when he's old with the wigs and the nails and stuff. Absolutely. So yeah, long story short, yes. Okay, next we have The Pawn and the Puppet by Brandy Elise Shecker. I am reading the 3rd book of this for some fucking reason. And when I think about this book and I go back to the first time that it crossed my desk, honestly, this book is the reason I have a best friend. Actually, it's part of the reason why I have a best friend now. So shout out to Rachel. Hello, if you're watching. This horrible book came across my desk around the same time that I saw her video on it, and I was like, you know, I could do this. I could take a crack at this. And I did, and I'm glad that I did, because now I have a platonic soulmate to live out my entirely unhinged life with. But as far as the book and the main male character love interest, I mean, he's a superhuman killing machine who has been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, and this is one of the worst portrayals that I may have ever seen of said disorder. And it's completely insensitive and all of that, but away from that, but stepping back from that, zooming out and just looking at this man and his altars that are in rotation, I would say that he needs some help, but the way that he was traumatized and the way that he was trained to be a horrible person killing machine, it's just immediately no, because like he raises entire armies. Like he's never securely in place, like even when he's chained and stuff, and he's in the asylum, which is not a good asylum. It's not a good asylum. I'm not saying that asylums are even good, okay? That's a discussion for another day. But like, he didn't get any help, and I don't think they were interested in giving him any help, and he is not receptive anyway. Like, he's still kind of secretive, mysterious, horrible. I don't like him. So immediately no. The Dare by Harley LaRue is next, and this features a couple of people, but I'm only going to be talking about the main guy, which is Manson Reed, who was bullied by this girl in high school, and then they see each other a couple years later at a college party, and they enter into this weird little power play dynamic consensually and have like a really fun little night together. So, I mean, yeah, I'd be willing to hear him out. His name is Manson Reed, for crying out loud, so I didn't have this one, so I'm gonna add it now. I don't know why I missed it, but stop. So I would hear out Manson Reed and just see, because it might not be like a hell yeah, you know, maybe it's just a hell yeah for the time being, maybe one night, just like, you know, they had in the book, because I don't really know anything else about him. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he's like in his day-to-day, if he has any friends. I mean, he has those clowns that show up. Yeah, I'd hear him out. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Since I just put it in here, so it's obviously on my mind, let's go to No Place to Hide. I don't remember this man's name, but this is set in like an after-hours fairground carnival thing, traveling through town. And this girl, she's, you know, going through a breakup, and she meets this man who's running one of the rides, and there's like a connection. There's like a little zing. And then after the place closes down, they have a little fun roaming around through all the stuff. And he's attentive. He talks her through it. He gives her a safe word. And honestly, I've been with worse. So, he's got a job? No, no place to hide. You know what? Hell yeah. Plus, he could probably get me a discount on those turkey legs. Love a fucking turkey leg. A smoked turkey leg hates to see me coming. Oh, God. Okay, next up we have Phantom by H.D. Carlton. And this is in the world of the cat and mouse duet, Haunting and Hunting Adeline. Satan's Affair, Where's Molly? Where's Molly is so removed, it almost doesn't even register as being in the same thing, but it is. So, here we are. And Phantom is the one that I read most recently. I just finished it. I have some reviews up, early access for Binder members. I'm working on my schedule to get them out for everybody else. But, you know, if you don't feel like waiting, you can join the channel and become a member. But Phantom has the story of Gigi and the affair that she has with this mafia man who is stalking her from the tree line outside of her house. And not only is he like incredibly bland as a character, I just finished reading this a week ago, and I have already lost so much sight of what's going on because it was so boring. I was not interested at all. And so he's in the mafia. He kills people. Sure. Why? Like, of course, part of the gig, you know? And I just think he needs to stop it and get some help. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't think anybody else should have him either. He's dangerous, but he's also so boring that he almost can't even be like banished to hell. Like, just figure your shit out, get your head out of your ass, and maybe you can be, you know, a person to someone. Not me, but someone. Next, this is not necessarily dark romance, but it is strange romance, and it's I Got Abducted by Aliens, and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming. Now, I read this for my book club this year, and honestly, I don't really remember much about it. There was a lot going on, but none of it felt like really fleshed out. And like with a title like this, you know, so I'm just gonna say no thanks. And in the meantime, I want to redirect you to Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. And I've only read the first one of this. There's a review up on my channel if you're interested in seeing my full thoughts. This is another alien sci-fi romance thing where a woman crash lands on a planet made entirely of ice, and this big blue purring horned alien wants to breed with her. And as I'm past, breeding age, really, I'm not past it, but for me, I am. I'm not in the business of having any more offspring, children, whatever you want to call them, but I would hear Vectel out. I would go to that whatever computer and download the language so that we could talk this through. I would be willing to hear him out. I don't know what he's going to offer me. I don't know what he's got going on here. This might be the best thing that ever happened to me, especially if I didn't have any family or friends or loved ones that I was leaving behind. I'm willing to hear you out. So, okay, next up, we have Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline and anything else that Zade Meadows is the main character for. This man, I hate this man. I hate him so much. He literally R's her with a loaded gun after he stalks her for weeks after seeing her across a room and just deciding that he's going to become obsessed with her for the rest of ever. And she just over time warms to this idea. And I hate him. I hate him and I want him to go to hell. So that's where I'm putting him. Immediately no. Okay, Wicked Pursuit by Katie Robert. I just read this year as well. I was kind of excited about it because it's supposed to be a Red Riding Hood retelling, but as you can see by the air quotes, it's not. As a Red Riding Hood retelling, quote, the main male character is frequently referred to as Wolf. He sends her gifts that have something to do with rubies and the color red. And the entire story itself was predictable. I knew who this man was the entire time from like one of the first couple of chapters, I feel like. And it was very annoying the way it was set up. Like if you hadn't read Neon Gods or a couple of other Katie Robert books, you've got no idea what the hell's going on. The system, the hierarchy, the family dynamics, nothing makes any sense. And it was all very predictable and a little boring. But what are you going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you have him. It's a no thank for me. Now we move on to Cold Sweat by Vera Valentine. This is basically a Kool-Aid Man stepbrother relationship that this girl has with her Kool-Aid Man stepbrother when she comes home visiting from college at some point. And I need you to not look at me when I do this, okay? But I'm willing to hear him out. And I need you to hear me out if we're going to talk about this. And we are, because here we are and we're doing it. His stuff tastes like Kool-Aid. Yeah, it's a yeah. And then also, he's like a glass pitcher full of liquid. Not real sure the dynamics here, but I also know that if I did want to snuggle with him, I wouldn't get overheated. And honestly, in this economy, that's incredible. So I would be willing to hear him out. And he's not my stepbrother. I don't have any stepbrothers, so... Ugh. Okay, so next we are going to move to The Wild by Kay Webster. This is the first rant review I did on my YouTube channel, so it's the one that started it all. Yay! And this is literally a 40-year-old man and his 16-year-old daughter falling in love in the Alaskan wilderness once their RV plummets down some sort of cliff and her mother dies and it's just them. And, one could argue that in extreme circumstances, extreme things will come about, sure. However, pedophilia and incest, not really some of the things that have ever happened to me in a tragedy. Like, I didn't almost chop my finger off the other day and think, I wonder who in my family I could start having sex with. Like, it's not linked. I understand why you might think that, whatever, tragedy begets tragedy, whatever. Yeah, fine. But also for, just food for thought, there's a town like just a little ways over from where they are. And in the book, when you read, you find out that they've been kind of crossing inappropriate lines with one another for years, long before they moved out here. And he's her father. Okay? Shut the fuck up. I want him to burn so thoroughly in hell that they cannot identify his remains through dental records. I want him pulverized, obliterated. I hate this man. Absolutely not. Speaking of hate, we have Little Stranger by Lee Rivers. Lee Rivers? I don't know. I sense a theme here. So these two adopted siblings... start having sex. And the boy, Kai or Malachi, I don't remember his fucking name. He is nonverbal and very aggressive and possessive of his sister. They start doing things together and exploring each other with one another, blah, whatever. And it ultimately leads to him attacking their father, and then they have full-blown intercourse atop their father's dying body. What are we doing? And then he goes to jail. She lets him go to jail for this, even though they were both kind of involved. It was mostly him, but she lets him go to jail. She doesn't speak up for him. He goes to jail, then he gets out and he stalks her. I have a whole review up on my channel if you want to know more and in depth and go chapter by chapter with me. But he gets out and he stalks her, and then he R's her and holds her prisoner in a barn or something, and then they live happily ever after. That's so cute. I want him in prison. No, prison let him go. So I want him in hell. I think him and Reed would get along really well, because Reed doesn't really like it when people, talk and have thoughts and concerns and questions. He doesn't want a partner. He wants someone to control. And we see that throughout the book. And then we also know, he can't talk. So I think they would be best friends in hell. Okay, next we have Mean One by Absinthe. This is a Grinch erotic horror retelling, and it was pretty fun to read. Obviously a little weird. He's a Grinch person, happy holidays. And he's also, his appendages are fuzzy, and he's also into pegging, like being pegged by someone, which, bravo. We love someone who wants to explore and isn't afraid. But the idea of the fluids and the fur or the fuzz, whatever it is that he's got going on there, is really not for me. So I'm going to leave him to you. And I hope you appreciate this gift that I've given you. Oh, God. Okay, so next we have Driving My Obsession by Lauren Beale. I have a review of this up on my channel. Also, if you'd like to go and see it, there is a lot to unpack here. And I'm just going to need you to trust me on this one. He needs to go to hell. It's immediately no. This man has mommy issues stemming from toddlerhood, which I can understand because his mother literally tried to take him out. She was unwell and tried to take him out. And not to a spaghetti dinner. No, I mean take him out as a baby. And as a result of men never choosing therapy, he starts to just become an incel who hates all women. And then he meets the girl who he will go on to victimize, break into her home, drug her, kidnap her, pretend to be her friend, and then, try to kill her. And, just like so much fun. He needs to rot. Yeah. See ya. Sorry about what happened to you. My mother was also horrible to me. I don't kidnap strippers. I just don't do it. Okay, so my next one is The Deviled Egg Made Me Do It by Holly Wilde. This is another recent read. Oh my God, we're having so much fun. I read this for a video that's coming up, so it might already be out. I don't know. But this is basically kind of what you can pull from the cover. This is a deviled egg man who pops to life one day that this woman is prepping for a brunch with her friends. And he's kind of dad jokey, which I find to be weird. But then he also is like very attentive to her moods and her stress and how he can help her. And he has an appendage that also has a little egg on it with little horns that move independently of one another. And he smells like chives, mainly because his pubes are chives. And his release tastes like it's the filling of a deviled egg. And I don't know if I could let go of my standards enough to have sex with a sentient egg man with razor sharp teeth and little horns and a little miniature him with horns and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know if I could, but I'd be willing to hear him out. That's what I'm saying. I would be willing to hear him out because I fucking love a deviled egg. If a turkey leg at the fair hates to see me coming, deviled eggs, I'm surprised they haven't already sprouted legs of their own on my countertop and run away. I will fuck up a tray of deviled eggs. If there is a tray of deviled eggs at the function, mayonnaise, not mustard, and I see it, none of you bitches are getting any. This tray is for me. Y'all should have made 2 trays. I don't know what you were thinking. Sucking them down. So not only do I feel like I could really appreciate what he brings to the literal and metaphorical table, but I could get on board. I could enjoy it maybe. I don't know. He also helps her do chores and stuff. And when she's working on the cooking, he's like, go get ready. I'll do this. And again, I have to reiterate that I shouldn't be allowed in the kitchen unsupervised. So I would hear him out. I'd be willing to hear him out. Let's just take a second to go over all of the people that I'm willing to hear out. Edward Cullen from the movie, the Grim Reaper. The Fae princes, because they cook for her. The literal hot priests that turn into vegetables. The boy that I bullied in high school coming back and putting me into a power dynamic in the middle of a party that we're both at. Yikes. A large blue horned alien man who wants to breed with me. A sentient glass pitcher of cherry flavored Kool-Aid. And a deviled egg man. What I'm learning about myself is that the weirder, the better. And I kind of already knew that, but it's never too late to learn about yourself. All right, next we have Truth or Kill by A.C. Kramer. I did not do a review on this, but it is mentioned in my Dark Romance Diaries series where I am going through and reading a bunch of dark romance, trying to find my particular flavor. I think this is doing a lot of work for me, honestly, this whole tier ranking thing. But this was one of the books that I picked up for one of those installments in the series. So this is like a revenge book thing where a guy has a bunch of people out to this hotel in the middle of nowhere, and there's like a dangerous game at the center of it, and people start falling off left and right, like they're taken out. And I don't remember much about this guy. He probably could use some help, so that's where I'm gonna stick him. But all I remember is that there was a knife banging scene, which I have never understood. Unless it's sheathed and no one is sawing through the sinew of their hand, then fine. But it's never really worked for me. But I digress. And another thing I remember is that it ended really abruptly and it felt kind of jarring as a result. So he needs some help. All right, we've got Credence up next. This is a Penelope Douglas book. I read this and reviewed it on my channel. And it was a good time for y'all, I assume, but it was a rough time for me. This is a young 17-year-old girl who's almost 18. She's like a high school senior. She loses both of her parents tragically and has to go live with distant relatives. Her uncle Jake, and then his 2 sons, Noah and Caleb with a K, I believe. And she bangs all of them. And on one hand, good for you, And on the other hand... Yeah, she's a teenage girl. She's a high school senior. She does turn 18 at a certain point, but she's sleeping with her cousins and her uncle who were tasked with caring for her in the wake of a great tragedy. So, Noah goes into the stop it, get some help, because I feel like he could get some help. He's like one of those kids that you see with a family in the middle of this town that's got like 18 people in it, and he just looks like he's not going to stick around here. He's meant for something different. I feel like if you lifted him out of this toxic home with these insane men that he's been around this whole time, he could rally. So Noah goes into the stop it, get some help. I think his name is Noah. Don't quote me. I could be wrong. But he's a stop it, get some help. Next, we're moving on to Caleb, who I gave a French accent in my review. I don't remember why. He's not French. But anyway, Caleb is in between hell and get some help, because he's also a product of his raising, but he is also really, really concerning as a human being. So he would probably go somewhere in between, get some help, and if the help didn't work, just go ahead and take him to hell. The dad, he goes to hell straight there. No stops. Okay, you were supposed to take care of this girl, and I don't mean her orgasm quota. I meant care for her. And the whole time that he likes her and starts up a sexual relationship with her, he's comparing her to a woman that he liked a long time ago, and she got killed because his family didn't approve of their union or whatever. And so it's just like this weird, sick, twisted little, I can't fucking stand it. And I hate all of them. Are y'all having fun? Speaking of hate, next we have Carving for Kara by Ren Hawthorne and Harper Ashley. I believe those are the names. This is a Halloween novella, dark romance, whatever, and the main guy sees a girl from across a cafe and decides that this is his whole life's work, is to come over and assault this woman who doesn't know him. And so that's what he does, and he stalks her to a Halloween party, and he takes out one of the guys that she slept with before, her ex or whatever, and then chases her into a cornfield and shucks her with corn. Okay? And like takes her back to her house and installs cameras in her home. And he just says, I would like to see what he looks like with some help. I will not be the one that's sitting in his corner, rooting him on, but he definitely needs help. I can't stand him. And if he doesn't help, go to hell. All right, last but not least, we have Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is not a cat and mouse duet fucking spinoff. This is just a standalone novel about a woman who is a criminal. She's on the run and she's stealing people's identities over and over and over again so that the police can't find her. And she ends up stealing the wrong identity from the wrong guy and also having sex with him a whole bunch of times. And he is a self-made entrepreneur man who runs a shark research thing. They get shipwrecked on an island with a lighthouse and an even weirder lighthouse keeper, and they have sex and kill people. I don't know. It's stupid. It was really, 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 really boring, which is something that I've just come to expect from these. Like, it becomes such a caricature of itself, this genre in general. Like, I want to like this genre so badly, and I think that there are pockets of it that I really appreciate more than others, but it's just insanity for insanity's sake. Like, you're just throwing shit at me to try to make it as outrageous as you can, and it loops back around to dull, bland, boring, predictable, dumb. Like, yeah, oh my god, he what? 5 more hours of that, and then you're like, oh wow, sharks. Yeah, you don't say. Oh, on the boat? Wow. And then he drowns her? Yeah. And then she drowns him? Wink. Yeah, no, I get it. It's just boring and it's stupid. And when I got to the end of it, there's a review up, by the way, if you want to go watch it. When I got to the end of the book, all of it is pointless. None of it had to happen. So great. But as for the man, his name is Enzo, and he R's her on his boat after he realizes that she stole his identity from him. And that definitely requires a little bit of help. But I just don't feel like he's hellbound yet. Like, I feel like that's definitely an overreaction, definitely a crime, definitely an inexcusable act of violence against women for sure. But that's the only thing I heard him doing in this book. That, like, and I want to believe in the power of rehabilitation. But before that, I think he was just a dorky kid with mommy issues who liked sharks a lot. So, maybe he can be saved. But you know what? Hell is always open for idiots like this. So if he can't be, then he can just go. But honestly, in the book, those two idiots seemed like they deserved each other because they were both stupid in the same way. You know what I mean? Like, horrible people doing the most for literally no reason. And he was boring, as I said. Like, so yeah, he just needs some help and he needs to stay the fuck away from me. So let's go over my list, okay? Deep in the bowels of hell, we have found Lincoln Daniels, Kane Desson Greystone, Zade Meadows, Reed, Zaddy Reed, the guy from Little Stranger, the guy from Driving My Obsession, and 2/3 of the stupid men from Credence. One step up, stop it, get some help. We have the serial unaliver Cole from There Are No Saints. We have the Frenchman from the Ravenhood series. We have whoever the fuck is in Where's Molly, Ronaldo from Phantom, the guy from Truth or Kill, the Carving for Kara weirdo, and Enzo Vitale from Does It Hurt? Our largest little cluster here at the middle ground, no thanks. It's not for me, but I could see the appeal for someone else. We have the mafia guy from Promises and Pomegranates. We have all the dumb, weird men in the mountain, the virgin burly bearded baby daddies of the Mountain series. Peter Pan, Vane, and Winnie Whore. They're all in the no thanks, and you guys can feel free to just snatch them up. The other two idiots from the Ravenhood series, Sean and Dom. The ghost idiot prisoner man from Pen Pal. The werewolves and the jack of literally every trade in Trick or Beast. The aliens from I Got Abducted and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com. and the Grinch from Mean One, and the wolf whatever from Wicked Pursuit. In the willing to hear them out category, we have Twilight's Edward Cullen, the movie version, the Grim Reaper from Death's Obsession, the Fey Princes from the Vicious Lost Boys series, the Vegetables / Hot Priests who kiss each other from Pounded by Produce, Manson Reed from The Dare, Vectel from Ice Planet Barbarians, the Stepbrother Glass Pitcher of Kool-Aid from Cold Sweat, and the Deviled Egg Man from The Deviled Egg Made Me Do It. And now we have the you know what, hell yeah category, which these are a no thought in my head people that I would just happily walk alongside for the rest of my life. We have the sleep paralysis demon from Sing Me to Sleep, the front door and partial god from Unhinged by Vera Valentine, the Dracula from Dracula, and the carnival worker from No Place to Hide. I feel like I left out a couple of things. The Pillow Man from Stuffed, the Tanuki from Full Sack. Forgot what that was called. Jeez Louise. And then Mothman from I Fell in Love with Mothman. Mothman, I'm willing to hear Mothman out. But the other two, the pillow, I'm not really into pillows. I'm also not really into Tanuki, who can make an entire cooked and dressed turkey appear out of his member. It's not for me. But yeah, I feel like I gave you enough to go on with this one. This is a lot, and it was also a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. And you know what? I will see you in the next one. Let me know if my ranking did anything for you or changed the way you view me. I will not have any hard feelings if that's the case, because honestly, I feel like I learned a lot about myself today. Not necessarily a great thing, but not necessarily a bad thing either. It's always fun to learn. Tell me your most unhinged, you know what, hell yeah, of the people that we've talked about here on this channel in the comments below, and we can keep the conversation going. This was a lot of fun. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next video. I love you. You don't have to say it back.